If you've moved to a new city and found yourself spending most weekends alone, wondering why it feels so hard to meet people as an adult, you're not alone. But the truth is, making friends doesn't have to be as awkward or complicated as we often make it. Today, we're going to talk about how to make friends as an adult in a new city, and I'll share a simple, gentle approach that's more natural approach. This matters right now because loneliness and isolation are such common experiences right now, especially when you're starting over somewhere new. When you practice this approach consistently, you might start to feel less pressure around socializing and more genuine moments of connection. The biggest mistake most of us make is thinking we need to force friendships immediately instead of letting them grow from small, low-stakes interactions. In this video, I'll walk you through step by step with calm and practical suggestions you can try this week. So let's begin with the first shift, changing how you think of friendship, not as a city, as a place full of potential small connections, not just a giant social audition. Making friends as an adult in a new city sounds simple, but it really isn't. This topic is about building real connections when you no longer have school or college forcing you together. It means walking into a room full of strangers and slowly turning them into people you text on a Tuesday night. You might start by showing up at a local meetup or saying yes to a coworker's vague invitation for coffee. A lot of people think friendship just happens naturally, but as an adult, it almost never does. The relief is that once you understand what it actually takes, the pressure to be instantly charming disappears. The simple takeaway here is that friendship in a new city is a skill you can learn, not a gift you're born with. Next, let's look at why all of this effort is worth it for your daily happiness. Having even just one good friend in a new city changes how you feel waking up each morning. This matters because humans are wired for connection, and isolation wears down your mood slowly. A friend nearby means you have someone to vent to, laugh with, and grab a walk when the day feels heavy. Studies actually show that social ties protect against anxiety and even help you handle stress better. The tricky part is that when you're lonely, you often feel less motivated to reach out, which makes it worse. But the upside is that each small connection you build adds a little warmth to your ordinary routine. So take it from me, friendship isn't just nice to have, it's a real part of taking care of yourself. Next, let's get honest about what life looks like when this connection is missing. Without friends in a new city, your weekends can start to feel like long, quiet stretches of alone time. You might find yourself scrolling your phone more or staying late at work just to avoid an empty apartment. Simple things like grabbing a coffee or going to a movie become decisions you have to make alone every time. A missing social life also means you don't have anyone to remind you that your bad day is not the whole story. One common trap is thinking that you're the only one struggling, but that feeling is actually way more common than people admit. The honest truth is that loneliness can creep in slowly, and you might not notice it until it starts to weigh on your mood. Recognizing that absence is the first step to understanding why you want to change it. Now let's talk about the hidden habits and beliefs that keep us stuck in that lonely place. If you're finding this helpful, consider hitting that like button. It really supports the channel. Also, subscribing means you will not miss future videos on topics like this one. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one small step you're thinking of trying after watching this? Maybe it's saying hello to a neighbor or signing up for a local class. Sharing your thoughts helps others feel less alone in their own journey. And if you want to keep watching, the next section dives into another practical tip. Thanks for being here. Your effort matters. Most people assume friendship requires a perfect match in hobbies or personality, but that belief can hold you back. Another habit is waiting for someone else to make the first move, which usually ends with no one acting at all. You might also tell yourself that you're too busy or that friendships take time you don't have right now. The pattern that often blocks us is the fear of rejection, so we avoid putting ourselves out there in the first place. A lot of adults also believe that after a certain age, deep friendships are impossible, which isn't true at all. The insight here is that these blocks are just stories we repeat, not actual walls that can't be crossed. The helpful takeaway is to notice when you're using a reason to stay comfortable instead of taking a small risk. Next, let's shift your mindset so you can see friendship as something you build, not something you find. The most important change you can make is to stop looking for instant best friends and start looking for good company. This shift matters because it lowers the pressure on every single conversation you have with someone new. Instead of asking, "Is this person my friend material?" ask, "Do I enjoy spending 10 minutes with them?" You can practice this by treating every interaction as a tiny experiment, not a final judgment on your social life. One pitfall is expecting every meetup to turn into a deep bond, which only sets you up for disappointment. The benefit of this mindset is that you open yourself up to many more possibilities than you ever considered before. So let go of the idea that friendship is a rare treasure and start seeing it as something you grow over time. Now that your mind is in the right place, let's move into your first practical step to actually begin. The first step is to choose one low-stakes activity where you can regularly see the same faces. This could be a weekly book club, a volunteer shift, a hobby class, or even a casual sports league. The key is consistency, because repeated exposure is what turns a stranger into a familiar person over time. You don't need to dive into deep conversation on day one, just show up and let yourself be seen. A realistic truth is that the first few times might feel awkward, and that's completely normal for everyone involved. The relief is that you only need to do this one small thing at first, not overhaul your entire schedule. So, Pick something you already enjoy and commit to going 3 or 4 times without any pressure to make a friend yet. Once you've built that habit, you'll be ready for the next step, which we'll cover next. So what does making friends actually look like when you're just going about your normal week? It's not about grand gestures or planned friend dates every single day. Instead, it shows up in small, repeated moments where you choose to be present with the same people. Maybe you start recognizing the same face at your local coffee shop or the person who always walks their dog at the same time. The key is that you don't force a deep conversation right away, you just let familiarity build naturally. Over time, a simple nod turns into a quick hello, and that hello turns into a few minutes of casual chat. This is the foundation, showing up consistently in the same places and letting small interactions stack up. From there, you can start to see which connections feel worth investing a little more time into. One simple habit that can make a huge difference is what I call the 3-second rule for small talk. Whenever you're in a situation where you could say something to someone nearby, give yourself just 3 seconds to decide. If you hesitate longer than that, your brain will talk you out of it with all kinds of excuses. So you just say something simple like, "I love that jacket," or "This line is taking forever," right? It doesn't have to be clever or memorable. It just has to break the silence. Doing this once a day, even if it feels awkward at first, rewires your brain to see strangers as potential friends. After a week or two, you'll notice it gets easier and the fear of rejection starts to fade. This small practice turns everyday errands into opportunities for connection without any pressure. For more gentle guidance on building a happier, calmer life, I invite you to check out www.happylifetribe.com. There you'll find practical ideas, encouragement, and support for everyday challenges like making friends. The site is full of calm living inspiration and mindful lifestyle tips that fit into real life. It's a space where you can explore at your own pace without pressure. Whether you're looking for a simple habit to try or a reminder to be patient with yourself, you'll find it there. Think of it as a friendly companion for your journey toward more connection and ease. No rush, just a helpful resource whenever you need it. I hope it feels like a warm next step for you. A really common mistake is trying to go from zero to best friends way too fast. You meet someone at a workshop or a gym class, and you immediately want to exchange numbers and make plans for the weekend. That intensity can feel overwhelming to the other person, especially if they're also new and cautious. Instead of building a solid foundation, you end up scaring off a perfectly good potential friend. The mistake comes from thinking the friendship has to happen quickly or it's not real. In reality, the strongest adult friendships grow slowly, through repeated low-pressure interactions. So let yourself be okay with just being a familiar face for a while before you ask for a deeper connection. Patience here isn't weakness, it's the smartest strategy for lasting friendship. If the whole idea of making friends still feels like a huge mountain to climb, here's how to shrink it down. Stop thinking about making friends as one big goal and start thinking about it as a series of tiny, low-stakes steps. Your only goal for this week might be to smile at 3 strangers in places you visit regularly. Next week, your goal could be to have one short conversation with someone you've already smiled at. This way, you're not putting pressure on yourself to find a lifelong friend by Friday. Each small success builds your confidence and makes the next step feel less scary. Remember, you don't have to be the life of the party, you just have to be a little bit open, a little bit at a time. When you break it down like this, it stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a natural part of your day. As you start making even 1 or 2 casual connections, you'll notice a shift in how you feel about your new city. That constant background loneliness or anxiety begins to soften, replaced by a sense of belonging. You might find yourself looking forward to your morning coffee run because you know a familiar face will be there. Emotionally, you feel less like an outsider and more like someone who has a place in this community. Mentally, the city starts to feel smaller and more manageable because you have anchors, people who know your name. This change doesn't happen overnight, but each small interaction adds a layer of comfort and security. You'll also notice that you become more resilient to the inevitable awkward moments because you've built a little social momentum. That emotional shift is the real reward, and it makes every awkward hello completely worth it. Life will get busy again, work deadlines, family obligations, or just days when you feel too tired to be social. The trick to keeping momentum is to have a few low-effort routines that don't require much energy. For example, you can keep showing up to the same weekly class or event even if you don't talk to anyone that day. Just being present maintains the familiarity you've already built, so you don't have to start from scratch later. Another way is to send a quick text to someone you've met, like, "Hey, hope you're having a good week," without expecting a long reply. These tiny actions keep the connection alive without draining your social battery. Remember, consistency matters more than intensity. A 5-minute check-in is better than a 2-hour hangout you keep postponing. And with that foundation in place, we can move into how to deepen these early connections into real, lasting friendships. Over time, this small shift in how you approach connections starts to change your whole day. You stop seeing every errand or commute as a lonely task and start noticing moments where a brief conversation could happen. That coffee shop barista you see weekly might become a familiar face you genuinely look forward to greeting. You begin to build little pockets of warmth into your routine, like a chat with a neighbor in the elevator or a regular at the gym. It's not that your schedule gets packed with social plans, but the edges of your day feel softer and less isolating. You start to feel like you belong in these small spaces, even if you still haven't made a close friend yet. This is the quiet groundwork that makes deeper friendships possible later on. Let's look at a realistic challenge that can still catch you off guard. You don't have to figure this out alone. There's a whole community of people on the same path. At www.happylifetribe.com, you can connect with others who are also learning to live with more intention and peace. It's a place where you can share your experiences, ask questions, and find encouragement. Many of us are working on small, meaningful changes just like you. Being part of a supportive group can make the journey feel lighter and more hopeful. If that sounds like something you'd like, consider subscribing here or visiting the site to join in. There's no pressure, just an open invitation to belong. Together, we can take those small steps toward a fuller, more connected life. Even after weeks of steady effort, you might hit a stretch where nothing seems to click. You go to a few events, start conversations, exchange numbers, and then nobody follows up. It's easy to feel like you're doing everything right and still getting nowhere. This is a normal part of the process, not a sign that you're failing or unlikable. People are busy, distracted, or just as hesitant as you are, and sometimes connections fade before they start. The real challenge is not letting that silence convince you to give up and retreat back into your routine. Remind yourself that building a social life in a new city is a slow, messy experiment, not a straight line. Next, let's talk about how to recover when you slip back into old patterns. If you catch yourself staying home for weeks and avoiding opportunities, don't pile on shame. Start by naming what happened. Maybe you got tired or discouraged without judging yourself for it. The fastest way back is to do one small, low-pressure action, like texting a contact you met last month. You don't need to apologize for the gap, just ask how they've been or mention something you both talked about. Slips happen because building friendships takes energy and you're allowed to rest and regroup. The moment you take that tiny step, the momentum starts to return and you remember you can do this. Treat each recovery like a reset, not a failure, because every attempt builds your confidence. Now let's look at who this topic helps most and why it matters for them. This whole approach is especially helpful if you've recently moved for a job, school, or a fresh start. It also matters if you're naturally more introverted and feel drained by big social scenes. People who struggle with social anxiety or past rejection will find the low-pressure steps less overwhelming. And if you've been in your city for a while but still feel like you haven't found your people, this is for you too. The reason is simple. Traditional advice often pushes you toward volume and speed, which can backfire. Focusing on small, consistent, genuine interactions instead suits people who need safety and patience to connect. You don't have to be outgoing or charming. You just have to show up a little bit over and over. With that in mind, here's a simple action plan to begin this today. Start by picking one place you already visit or pass by regularly, like a park, a gym, or a library. This week, make it a goal to say one extra sentence to someone there, a greeting, a comment about the weather, anything. Then, on your next visit, add a follow-up, like asking how their day is going or noticing something about them. Keep doing this with the same place and the same few faces until you remember their names and they remember yours. After that, invite one of them to do something very low stakes, like grabbing tea or walking together. Don't overthink the invitation, keep it simple, casual, and easy for them to say yes or no. Repeat this process with one new place every few weeks and let the connections grow naturally. Finally, let me leave you with some lasting encouragement for why this change is worth practicing. Making friends as an adult in a new city is one of the hardest social things you'll ever do, and that's why it matters. Each small step you take sends a quiet message to yourself that you are worth the effort and that you belong here. The friendships you build will not happen overnight, but the daily practice of showing up, even awkwardly, reshapes how you feel about your new home. You'll start to notice that the city itself feels less foreign, more like a place where you have history and presence. And when you finally do find that person who becomes a close friend, it will feel earned and deeply meaningful. Don't wait until you feel ready or confident. Start with the smallest possible action today, right now. Trust that every hello, every shared moment, and every stretch of patience is building a life that feels connected. You already have everything you need to begin, and your people are out there waiting to meet you. As we wrap up, I hope you feel a little more ready to take that first small step toward connection. Remember, building friendships takes time, and every little effort counts. You don't have to do it perfectly, just showing up is enough. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Happy Life Tribe for more gentle guidance. For extra encouragement and practical ideas, visit www.happylifetribe.com. There you'll find a supportive community, calm living inspiration, and mindful lifestyle tips to help you along the way. I'd love for you to join us there, whether you subscribe here or stop by the site. Take things one conversation at a time and be kind to yourself. You're doing great.